All right, I think we're on.
Oh yeah, we are live. This is a disclaimer. This is a comedy parody show. Cool, right? Yeah. Don't do like we do. Just listen to us. I'm JQ. This is Sean Wickens. I'm sure Ralph Jean Pierre and Lex Morales will be along soon. We have a funny show today on Starter Morning Show. Welcome
Yeah,
everybody.
Lex is here right now. There he is. Hey, and there's there's another Jason Cunis in the waiting room.
Oh shoot! Nice.
Was it me? Am I the other Jason Cunis?
I don't think so, because it says you're here, and it says Jason is here, and then it says Jason's in the waiting room.
Oh,
Do you know? Is that a surprise guest? Do you know who that is? Is this a Secret Santa thing?
I only know one J Cunis. I only know one J.
Yeah. Lex, did you reshape your beard? Is it? Yeah. Is it like shaped?
It's just really long. It's just really long.
It looks different than it has.
So it naturally grows to a point if I let it happen.
Oh.
It's amazing how much older not only do I look, but I feel by growing out a beard. Is it weighing me down? Do you have back problems for having such a big beard, Sean?
I don't think it makes you look older at all. But man, I noticed the other day on my foot, I have like a huge like bump on it. I think it's like scar tissue from an injury.
On your foot?
Yeah, like remember when you and I were in DC and I slipped on some ice and fell down some stairs?
I do remember that.
I think it might be from that, like scar tissue from it or something. Because it's like
you were bothered, but managed for a couple days. But like, you think it was that? I mean, you know your body. You're pretty good about not complaining then.
Well,
you have scar damage 4 years ago.
It's that foot. That's the only reason I thought.
Oh,
it's like, oh, what's the biggest injury there? But it's my ankle was hurting, and this is like a bump on the top of my foot. I don't know. It's very weird, like a weird bump to like discover.
I love. I think it's one of Jim Gaffigan's new jokes where he just says, "I went to sleep and I woke up and twisted my ankle. I had somehow twisted my ankle at night."
Oh yeah,
but it's true. It's amazing how you get old. Do you feel? I feel like a child in my head though. Like it's. Does that make sense? I guess it's a lack of responsibility for not having children or anything like that. But
no, I think it's a very common thing because a friend of mine once said that his mother, who was in her 80s, once said, "I still feel like I'm 19, but I look in the mirror and I know that I'm not, and I feel how I feel and I know I'm not." So I think that's a normal thing.
Well, I think that's why I said the beard makes me feel, because I forget that I have gray. Like, and when it's cut shorter, you don't see it as gray.
Yeah.
But when it grows out, the more and more gray it is. And I'm just like, wow. And then I start noticing the wrinkles around the eyes and the lack of, and like I'm getting a jowl. You know?
Yeah.
Like
I used to never have such pronounced wrinkles right here, but I noticed it in the last like.
Do you think it's your face? Because me neither. But I think it's your face trying to be still have expression over the beard. Do you think it's like it's like, all right, I have competition?
Yeah, my face is evolving around the beard. Yeah, maybe my skin will grow around. Follow it up.
Just it knows to not be an expressionless face.
Yeah,
it just protrudes through. I was actually thinking about that. Actually thinking about you, Sean, when I really noticed this is I mean, it happened last time I grew out my beard. And every time it's like shocking how white it just gets. And I thought about you and I'm like, you've had your beard for over a decade now, right?
Probably.
Close to it. And once you grew out your beard, even though you were much younger, that was a decade ago, early 30s probably, you had white hair right off the bat, right?
I don't think I did at the beginning, no.
You know? I was in California too, so when you really started growing the beard out. So maybe Maybe I remember it differently, or I just noticed it after the fact.
Could be.
It is a good beard, though. We all have good, distinguished beards. You know,
We should all darken our beards and
Yeah.
see how we look.
Ooh, that's interesting. Jay, you have that Alan Watts kind of like just white on the chin, like in lines kind of shit. It's
Yeah.
nice.
I would. I've been uninterested in dyeing my beard just because it's sort of like, why do I have to jump through that hoop in order to be more accepted by other people? But if it is something that we all do together, then I would do it. It's a project that we all do.
Yeah, I know. I'm curious to know if I did do it, would it make me look younger, or would it just be like, now I got a different colored beard on my face?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I think it would look fake, but
I'm sure they make a filter for that or an app for that now. We should try to put an app and see if we can take pictures of ourselves with darker.
That's an easy way to do it.
I recently used one of those apps just to, I don't ever really go on social media much, but it's scanned across and it goes, this was what your face would look like if it was perfect, right? And then you just keep your face and then it put makeup on me. And I'm like, that's all I have to do for me to be perfect, to start wearing makeup.
That's it.
I guess maybe I'll wear makeup when I'm an old man. I don't know. Like it might be a trend thing for older men to wear makeup when they're older. Who knows?
It might get in fashion. I mean, you do see like there are like, I mean, Johnny Depp, he'll be even older.
Yeah,
he's already rocking makeup, and like the guy he copies all the time.
He's been wearing makeup since the 80s.
Yeah, I don't know why women get to lie about so much of their physical appearance, and we don't.
Well, I think it's because men. Well, they say women dress for other women, and if that's true, men are dressing for other men, and men are maybe not as hypercritical of other men as women are. I don't know, but that might be true because, I mean, society makes them that way. I just realized I haven't looked at any comments. If we have anybody commenting.
Yeah, what would be the type of makeup if you were socially acceptable? What kind of makeup would you wear?
I think I'd wear some sort of like under eye makeup only because
like an eyeliner, like a nice strong eyeliner.
Yeah, I have
you have beautiful eyes too, Jay. It's said that they might go unnoticed. That's a great thing to highlight about your face. Good job, Sean.
Hey, it's a good thing that I checked the comments because Puma James said, "Sweet old man beard talk," which is the kind of feedback we're after.
Yeah. All right, let's switch it up.
Yeah.
I'm actually going over to his house for dinner tomorrow night.
Whose house?
Puma's.
Oh,
he's a friend of mine up here.
Oh, okay.
Very nice.
Hey, well, a little bit of advice. This is up to you, of course, but don't bring up beards at dinner, I guess.
No, I'm gonna keep that out.
He's heard it.
I think I might.
I gotta be honest. The only reason why I keep the beard anymore is because it hides the third chin. I'd rather look old and hairy than young and fat. I was young and fat for years. You know, now I get to be old and something different.
I keep the beard because when I do trim it, I realize that my chin is like kind of small. We were talking about beards again, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It does. I think it changes my face in a way that would be traumatizing for people. If
I look like I look like I'm 18 again when I shave. I hate it. And I think I've always I never really I have a butt chin, and
Mm.
I think that's why I started wearing like having a beard or a goatee when I was younger, and now a beard, just to cover that butt chin.
They probably sell some sort of like makeup spackle that you can put in there to
In
cover
the
up
crack.
that skin.
Yeah,
Oh,
you could
wow.
just fill, and then you'd lay a foundation over that, and then just work the contours of your bone structure.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. I couldn't grow a beard until late in my 30s. No, late into my 20s. I'm in my late. I already passed. But the fact is, I was so hairless up until like 18. I only had eyebrows showing. That's the only hair I had on my body until I was about 18 or 19.
Wow. That's impressive.
And then it came out everywhere.
You're a genetic wonder. You know?
There'll be books written about me.
Yeah. I maybe there's like a recessive hairless gene named after you.
Oh.
Um,
I
Okay.
What would it be called?
Oh, it would probably be like, I mean, I don't know the naming conventions of genes, but there's probably a bunch of random letters and numbers and then like your name, like
oh cool.
H531 Lex Morales or something like that. Our first guest just entered the waiting room. BZ Douglas is here, and might be a more serious talk than we usually have because he's been investigating an interesting story in our home area of Northeast.
Interesting.
Right.
That just you saying it's interesting has me interested.
Okay, good. Hey, oh wow, Festive, you're looking great.
Fucking Marshalls or TJ Maxx, man.
Mm.
Best finds.
Can I ask how old that sweater is? Is that this?
This is like less than a week.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was excited about this. I got
a
this, and I
Mexican
got some
Christmas.
really fuzzy, soft Grinch pajama pants.
Do you
As it
after we talk about some serious stuff, do you want us to give a little show and tell of your Marshalls and TJ Maxx purchases?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
I have
great.
another shirt that's literally bananas.
Yeah. Ooh.
So I'm so happy to have you guys on. I was listening, and I too, if I lose the beard, I de-age like 20 years. I've loved having a beard. I didn't start be able to grow one until like 30 almost. And I always hated being young when I was, being perceived as much younger than I was, especially because I was in acting and theater. So I just couldn't get any roles that weren't like, in my 20s, I had to play teenagers.
Yeah.
And so I love, my gray is all coming in my face. And my dad does my dad is like the reason why I just learned like covering up shit like that is crazy. He was losing his hair real early, and he would like grow it really long and do this weird swirl thing and turn it into a helmet of hair with like Vitalis and hairspray. And it just looks crazy. And then he finally is like, now he's bald, but he does the dyeing thing, and his beard is this ridiculous matte brown.
Yeah.
It just looks so fake. It's like, come on, Dad. You always got something you're hanging on to.
Yeah.
What do his cars look like? Does he drive dented cars?
No, I mean he's just like, driving whatever works for him. That's not. It's only the hair. There's always a facade going on with that.
Got it.
But I'll definitely take the dyed beard over the hair helmet.
Yeah. How about patches on his clothes? Does he do that too?
No, I don't think so.
Got it. All right. Well, it's great to have you here. And well, I don't know. Jason and Lex, do you have questions about what he's
I'm here to tell you a scary story, I guess.
Yeah. I watched that whole
it sounded like you guys already know what's going. You two know what's going on, and me and Jay are clueless. So you guys got to catch me up.
And that's it's a good test case. And I'll tell you what, so this is a story I've been working on for a year.
Yeah.
And as I developed, on my understanding of it, I would continually explain it to my 8 and 10-year-olds. Like, okay, if they can get it, then I'm figuring out how to boil this whole thing down.
That's yeah.
If your kids
So-
can get it, me and Jay can get it.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. That's my thing.
For the record, I did share the link to you guys about what's going on, but it's
I
not like I'm
totally-
keeping you guys in the dark.
Well,
I
you know,
did-
you're just being on par as, you know, it's just in character as stoners, you know.
Yeah.
I'll get to it, man, but it sounds
Yeah.
heavy.
In character.
It is heavy. I've listened to that whole interview. All right. How did you
So-
meet this guy? What's going on?
Well, we can get into the meta of the story afterwards, maybe, because that's its own story. But the story itself that I've published
Yeah.
is the story of a man. Actually, it's really the story of a prosecutor. He is currently the senior assistant state attorney general of Ohio. His name is Dan Casares. So through the circumstances of how I found it, like I said, it's another story. But what I discovered was first a woman named Kelly Patrick. Kelly was married to Dan's brother. And a weird thing about Dan Casares' family, he's got like 5 brothers. They all have different last names, which will make for an interesting paper chase if this family is like entirely shady. Anyway, so Kelly was married to Dan's brother, John Patrick. And back in 2000 and I want to say 9 or 12, there's a lot of years, she got into a fight with her husband, John, about his drinking, and some bottles were broken, like, you know, in the course of it. And she got thrown into a pile of glass. And so they had to call 911 because she was just need stitches. She was lacerations on different spots on her feet, hands. And so she calls 911. Kelly alleges, she believes that at that point is when John called his brother, the county prosecutor at the time, Dan Casares. Kelly goes to the hospital, they stitch her up, and they're telling her, okay, well, right now your husband is, you know, being processed. Another important point, when the police arrived, her husband immediately tried to be like, oh no, she was she lost her mind, she's high. And they were like, are you high? And she said, no, but we have pot in the basement, he grows it. And so the DEA was called at that point, and then she goes off to the hospital and they tell her, look, your husband is being processed. When you get home, there'll be an officer waiting there for you or whatever. She gets home, her husband has his feet up on the kitchen table and is shooting the shit with all the cops, and was never charged for the drugs or the domestic violence. So she's eventually extricates herself from that marriage. And just is like, you know, like, and you know, I really felt for her in hearing that story, like how scary that must be to be a domestic abuse victim. And then you try, you know, then find out like, oh, your husband can make this go away if you go to the system.
Not only is your husband against you, the system is against you. It's a lot to find out in one day.
And this is not just me taking Kelly's word. Kelly has, you know, she has photos from the DEA, like 36 photos of a massive grow op down in the basement. You know, all the pipes and all the things. And she has the police reports that show they called the DEA, but then the prosecutor logs, there's nothing about it being charges ever being filed about this.
Right.
So that's Kelly's story. Now, she's how I first came to this, because she posted this in more without using some names to an archive that I keep my eye on, like this people's archive of police violence in Cleveland. So, and the archive administrators actually reached out to me and said, this story just came in about this woman and this domestic abuse and drug story that was covered up by a prosecutor. You should talk to her. When I hear the name Dan Casares, I remembered it because he was the special prosecutor that was called in to basically like be the one to present the case to a grand jury about a bad shooting in Cleveland of a man named Desmond Franklin, shot by off-duty police officer Jose Garcia. So anyway, Casares rang out to me as a name. And so I talked to her, and that's when I heard her story. And I said, well, I'm going to start Googling Dan Casares. And then I find the only thing I find about Dan Casares that's derogatory and isn't just him in some big high profile case as the prosecutor is a website called freetonyviola.com. that's really where I dive into a rabbit hole that branches off into other rabbit holes where you
Yeah.
can also find big underground ponds to go fishing.
Yeah.
Wow.
As far
We're
as
gonna
corruption
hear-
and stories. So
Yeah. Jason and Lex, we're going to hear a story about some shady federal prosecutors.
federal
Oh,
and
thank you.
state. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so I come to find freetonyviola.com. I speak with him and Kelly, sometime in January, shortly after discovering both of their things online, and get a sense of them. And my initial reaction to especially Viola's story, not so much Kelly's, was why isn't anyone covering this? What am I missing? There's no way I'm just stumbling onto a story this big. And here's the story. And I, tracked it in a lot of ways and came to really understand it over a year. And so Tony was targeted. He was surprised to find himself the target of a mortgage fraud task force that was made up of federal and state officials that was formed in the wake of the 2008 financial crisis. Now, here's the thing about for those who don't, know the whole thing. If you've seen The Big Short, then you have maybe a good understanding of it to some degree. But basically, the banks and financial regulators set up this wild house of cards that all boiled down to like, we can make a lot of money by just getting mortgages signed and then burying, them in, like no money down mortgages, liar loans, parking lot mortgages, things that are just like, breaking all the traditional rules of who you give mortgages to, because they bundle those people, they give them high APRs and non-fixed rates, put them into these CDOs, these complicated financial instruments, and that's what caused the collapse. Anyway, so this mortgage fraud task force, though, they rounded up all these people, like, and Viola being like, one of the main ones they said was a big player in this. And the essential premise of the case that the task force put forth was that Viola and this whole cast of shady characters tricked the banks. They defrauded the banks. They were coming up with the idea of like, let's get like high APR, like let's get all these subprime people signed up to lots of mortgages and just make money, because the people who made money off of this scheme on the ground level were the mortgage lenders. So if you were a mortgage lender, and you could come in and do this with like no fucking training, like they were just come on in, make a lot of fast money, because they wanted people who didn't know that it was shady. And you could make like 9% commission on your mortgage. Like, think about that. You're selling $120,000 houses. And if you can clear 8 mortgages in a day, everybody's happy and you're real happy. So there was definitely shadiness going on. But
I just did the math. That's over $10,000 on one. Okay.
Yeah. And so what this task force then rounded up people, and the key thing about what they rounded up Viola, he is someone who went into realty like on the like him and his girlfriend, is like high school sweetheart, decided, she's like, let's fix up houses and sell them. Mm-hmm. And that developed into a business that he ran with employees to like, and he was the kind of realtor that was into like, I like giving people jobs. I like putting people into homes. I like feeling like a positive force in my community and, being a successful businessman. Say what you will about like, real estate and, there's a general, like all kinds of stuff that's problem with it. But I think in general, the impression I got of him from not only talking to him, but the people that came forward to speak on his behalf that I interviewed, that's the kind of guy he was. Now in Cleveland, like many places, there are absolutely shady real estate people. And there were absolutely businesses and operators that I think probably showed up right about the time these financial instruments and regulations were laxed in order to capitalize on it and play that game. And I think the kind of people who do that are, greedy. And what goes with that is like, they will grease political wheels to make real estate deals. This isn't the kind of person Tony was as an operator. And I say all this because the real fundamental thing about this case for me was at a certain point after I'd interviewed him and listened to him and looked at everything, is like, is Tony Viola not the man before me? Is there some secret, sinister son of a bitch?
Right.
And I was just straightforward with him, like, towards the end, I'm like, look, I'm going for this story, and I'm putting some faith in you, because I know I can't possibly have looked into every angle of everything on this. But anyway, I haven't even gotten into, so he's accused of, like I said, being a part of a big crime syndicate to defraud the banks.
Right.
And he's completely caught.
Shady mortgages. And according to the interview that you did with him, he doesn't even do mortgages or something, right?
No, that's what I say. He works, obviously, if you're a realtor, you work with mortgage people, but he didn't do them. And he certainly, the only way he would have made money off the scheme is if he was getting kickbacks from the people who got the commissions.
Mm-hmm.
But that was never shown or even alleged. It was just somehow that he was a mortgage person, but he wasn't. And so here's the whole arc of then the story. Like I said, he's caught unaware by this. He is tried in federal on like 48 counts of mortgage fraud. And the whole time thinking, okay, I'll figure this out. I've got a good defense attorney. I have a lot of people who are ready to stand in my corner and say that Tony's innocent. But he's convicted on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then, while he's awaiting trial, here's another crazy thing. He's awaiting. He has a trial in state court, all the same counts. Like, we do that kind of thing to, like, Ted Kaczynski got tried in federal and state.
Mm-hmm.
You do that when you want to slam someone, or maybe both want a piece of the pie that you get from whatever the settlement, or like. I don't know, but it's kind of a big thing that, like, they're going at him in both.
Right.
So he's awaiting sentencing for the federal and for his state to start. And that's when he gets a visit from the hero of this story, Dawn Pasella.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn was the office manager for the mortgage fraud task force. She had been there for about 3 years.
She's the enemy, so to speak.
Yeah.
She's on the other side of the case.
And when she comes to Tony, he's like, oh,
she's a quisling. Sorry.
So she at first, though, has to say, so, hi, Tony, when you met me, I told you I was a legal grad student that was just interested in helping out on your case.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out I was told by my boss, Dan Casares, and his federal compatriot on the federal side, Mark Bennett. They had me go to your legal defense fundraisers after you were indicted, wearing a wire, in order to find out what your defense strategy would be. This is highly illegal.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if not illegal, it's certainly unethical. Everyone I've mentioned this to, like, would you do that? Like, law enforcement officers are like, no.
Yeah.
So this is like the first thing when I found out this was confirmed. I'm like, okay, right here, no matter what you think of Tony Viola's innocence or guilt, that is misconduct.
Right.
And this guy should have been called out for that, because it is not denied. It is confirmed.
Right.
Their only defense of it, when they get caught, they have the few times they've been brought up in court, their defense of it is they said, well, this shouldn't matter because the tapes were like hard to hear anyways. We didn't get any information. That's kind of like saying, like, look, Your Honor, I broke into the bank, but there was no money there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not a lawyer, but it sounds like mistrial kind of stuff. If you
it's
find
not
out
just mistrial, but also like disbarment kind of stuff. If you're breaking the ethics of a lawyer, like, from my understanding, that that's the whole, like, they can disbar you.
So he finds this out, though, after
really
the fact.
Scandalous shit.
He doesn't find this out when she doesn't tell him this during the federal trial when she's spying on him. She tells him afterwards, because she went to her parents. She's like, before she went to tell him, she's like, I need to tell this guy. And so that was the first thing she told him.
Right.
But the rest of the story, she confessed to him, like, look, when I was there, I'm pretty sure that Dan Casares was fucking one of the main witnesses that was, like, key witness in a lot of these cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I also absolutely saw them mishandling and tampering with and destroying evidence. but I kept copies of a lot of things they got rid of.
Hmm.
And she told him there were witnesses that they interviewed. They had this messed up screening process where they would have someone outside of the official investigation interview anybody. And if they were going to be like, go against the narrative they had about Viola, they never were officially interviewed, which would then put them on like a witness list. So the defense would say, know about them.
Yeah.
Also, he found out that his defense attorney completely was like more interested in going along to get along and playing nice with the prosecutor than representing him well. And so
Sure.
she told him,
it happens too much in the system. But can I ask you? I got a question. Sorry. So, is this? It's not even. So we're not specifically even talking about the Kelly case or the Frank Viola case. We're talking
no, this is related to the Tony Viola case.
Yes.
Tony Viola. Yeah.
So Tony Viola, but that's so you have most of this info, but what you're really discussing is this guy, the DA.
Well,
Because or my question would be why are they specifically going after Viola?
I can get to that. I have a working theory on why him. That was an important question for me to answer, even though I don't really answer it in the story directly, but I do give everyone the same information that led me to my answer, which is how I like to write stories. I don't tell you my conclusion. I give you everything that brought me to my conclusion.
Sorry to jump ahead. I was trying to make sure I was on the same path. All right.
So Viola's convicted in federal court. Dawn Pacella has a crisis of conscience. She comes forward to Viola, tells him that she spied on him, that evidence was suppressed, witnesses were suppressed, and that she is going to help him defeat in his state trial. Behind the scenes, she provides him with all of the evidence and exhibits. She tells him, look, you have to represent yourself. No lawyer will really take this on as aggressively. It needs to be done. And no one's going to fully understand it as well as I do. So she basically was his secret lawyer then provided him with the whole legal defense, exhibits, everything. He beat every single count in state court. And from what I heard, Dan Casares was just made to look a fool over and over because, he didn't know Tony would have stuff. So he'd get up there and say like, well, this is blah, 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 blah. And then Tony would be like, nope. And, have the documentation that Dawn provided him that Casares thought had been hidden.
I have a question because how long of a process was this? We're now talking about the state case. Like, how long was it that he first got sort of like arrested or arraigned or whatever? And then
it's about a year. It's going, I think it goes on to a year, but so then that's sort of like, this is in a movie. If this were a movie, this is like, that triumphant upswell of things where like, they're kicking ass in court and everything. And so you're getting to the dramatic climax where Dawn tells Tony, you need to subpoena me, or, that's where this needs to go now, so that I can just testify and ask me. She told them, ask me open-ended questions so I can just dish.
Yeah.
And as soon as she goes on the witness list, that's when her cover's blown. And now Casares and all of them know that she's been helping him. And so he starts sending threatening letters to Viola saying, well, if Dawn testifies, then I'm going to have to drag her through the mud about like problems she had with drinking that had no bearing on what she witnessed. She didn't like drink herself into hallucinating the bad behavior she was doing. He was totally threatening to just like personally smear her, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. Don't attack the facts, attack the person.
Yeah, and they kept threatening to say, and she would be violating a non-disclosure agreement that they said they had, and no one has ever produced this. Viola has records requests everywhere. Like, where is this? And her parents said that she never signed anything like that. So, but they were coming to her house telling her, you need to leave town and not be in town on the day you're called to testify, or you will be prosecuted. Now, first of all, if that's just a trap, because if you don't show up for subpoena, they can issue a bench warrant for you. You can be fined. You're immediately going to look tarnished in other ways. Second of all, if you don't want a witness to testify in a trial, you fucking file a motion to quash with the judge. You tell the judge your legit reasons why they can't. They had no legit reasons, so they just went around it and tried to intimidate her.
Right.
But she was going to do it. Her parents were worried about her. Mother didn't want her to do any of this. She was worried for her safety. And the night before she was supposed to testify, she died of an alleged accidental overdose of alcohol. And the suspicion of this event, you know, like I said, when I explained this to my 8-year-olds, just dryly, like, and then this woman was going to testify and tell everyone about what the bad prosecutor did. And then right before, she died from drinking too much alcohol. And my kids interrupt me like, Dad, you know what I think happened?
Yeah.
What do you think, my 8-year-old son?
Yeah.
The obvious thing. But
I mean,
anyway,
it's very suspicious. That's what you can say.
And it gets worse and worse and worse the more like I could go into the details of what I have learned and what I, you know, once I saw autopsy photos. And then once the other thing about this story, I'm the only journalist that the parents of her have ever spoken to. They've been guarded, defeated, resigned. It was like one of the toughest things I've ever done, because I've spoken to parents who lost, you know, brothers and children to police victims but their kids are hashtags and they're out there like with the public knowing the tragedy they went through. The Pacellas have never been public about their grief.
Right.
And it was a process of me convincing them like, look, I'm in this because I really give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I want Dan Casares. I'm very troubled by the fact that he is now someone who gets brought in as a special prosecutor all over the state. This all happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What police department, do you know the police departments that were involved in like the autopsy and the body discovery? And
I believe it's
like,
I'll have to look at that, but they're not good. I'm pretty sure if it's any of the ones that are in my head, North Olmsted, Parma, or North Royalton, none of them are great. Like the ring suburbs, the more rural suburbs around Cleveland. So we're now where this whole thing is. So you can read, I have 3,000 word article that boils down all of this. And like I said, the interview with the Pacellas is an exclusive. It's been really amazing. I mean, that whole process was difficult, like I said, just because I had to convince them to talk at all. Like, what's the point? And I said, well, to me, the point is like this guy needs to be called out. And I'm infuriated the media has let this story go by, hasn't tried to at least look into it. Because Dawn's story alone, like I said, whatever you think of, everything that can be corroborated about what happened to Dawn needs to be fully investigated. Her death was never fully investigated.
Yeah.
And I told, you know, and that interview too was like, I ended up having to take a moment and just tell them like, look, I'm sorry, I'm going to have a quick little cry.
Yeah.
Because after they corroborated everything, and that's so important that it's not just Tony Viola saying that Dawn said these things and wanted to come forward, speaking for a dead woman. That's, you know, it all makes him good for him. The fact that they're corroborating this and they're really reticent to even come out and talk about it. They're not trying to get attention. It was all very, you know, just spoke to the credibility of the whole story. And I told them, I hope you understand that you will give people the opportunity to grieve with you, to be proud of Dawn for doing this, and to be angry at the people who she was trying to expose, and to have, you know, what they want is to believe that they know the whole story of how her daughter died. Right. And to know that the people, because even if, and Tony and Viola both and I agree that even if she drank herself to death, which is really ridiculous when the way it was done was 2 of the, you know, cheap well pop off vodka, like 2-liter things, the bottom shelf crap.
Yeah.
One of them was like had this much left in it.
Right.
So, and it was new. It was bought within 24 hours. You telling me she just like slammed that much? Because you can't drink that much alcohol slow over and die of alcohol. It's hard to die of alcohol poisoning unless you're like trying to. And
Yeah.
parents were adamant that she is
You're
not
gonna
someone who commits suicide.
Yeah.
What's that, Jason?
You're gonna pass out before that happens.
Exactly. Yeah. So, working.
And if you want to
is
do it,
just
you do it with
she
Everclear
was
or something
force
like that.
fed the alcohol somehow. That's never been ruled out. And if I were an investigator working the case, I would. And I've also, my understanding is too, she had an ex-boyfriend. This is not in the story too. So this is Stoner Morning Show exclusive, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's my understanding, and this comes from Tony's, has an ex-FBI investigator, career guy, like 70 years old, sober, not someone, who's going to take a case just to getting paid. He does a lot of work for Viola for free, but they're looking into the fact that she had an ex-boyfriend, drug dealer, did like pills, like Xanax, illegal prescriptions. He was out of the picture for a while, and he apparently showed up to visit her shortly before, if not the day before she died. And she, and so the, my understanding of allegations or what's being investigated is if he was actually a paid informant for the police, and at one point had been prosecuted by Dan Casares, possibly an informant under his thumb.
Oh shit.
And this is like a cold case. It's a Netflix series that's just unedited at the moment.
Yeah.
These are all cold cases, right? These are all nothing that there's nothing live right now in the legal system right now going on with any of these people, right?
If anything, that was the part of the point of like doing this story, and was to say that like at the very least, Dawn Pacella's role in this should be understood and celebrated, and her death should be investigated. So that's the next step of this, is after releasing it and pushing it around. I've gotten some really great responses. I've got some good opportunities possibly coming up on bigger podcasts than I've ever been on to talk about it. USA Today reporter and I are going back and forth, and she's aware of it. Because what I'm trying to sell journalists on is, look, I'm one guy with less than 1,000 subscribers between YouTube and Substack. And I cannot work this alone. And I think there's a lot of meat on the table here. And the main point I want to bring home is like Dan Casares and Mark Bennett in this Tony Viola case. It is not an end point. It is an entry point into a lot of things, because just since I published this story, the reason I was like, well, this could go on. There's so many more people I could interview and leads to dig into. But I was like, at a certain point, you got to get it out there, because I know once I'm like, okay, this guy is shady. You answered the two questions. Could Viola be is innocent? And I think yes. Could a prosecutor be this shady? Yes. And if the answer to the second one is yes, then the logical conclusion is, why wouldn't he have continued to be shady for the last decade?
Sure.
Continue to be shady now. A useful shady prosecutor is, a fixer to some degree, who makes cases go down no matter what. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know from this one case, almost everything he touched, or actually this case, Kelly's case, other ones I'm learning about, everything he touched should be investigated. And this lands right in the attorney general's lap too, on a week that he's already took one to the nuts from another source of mine regarding officer training. I had a meeting with our aide from the Ohio State, or the Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown this week on a completely different story. And it was nice at the end to tack on like, hey, you should check out this prosecutor.
Yeah, dude.
Holy
shit. Guys, I just realized I look like the sun-kissed guy, the sun-kissed son.
What sun-kissed guy?
Because he's like
I see more of a Mac Tonight, like the moon guy, the bird.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, the half a moon. It's a half a moon face. See how my hair goes and my chin, beard, and the sunglasses? Doesn't it look like some kind of cartoon dude?
Well,
yeah. No, you got, well, that's the weird thing about the chroma key thing. You get that strange shape. So sun-kissed guy.
Mac
the knife. or Mac tonight. McDonald's moon guy would probably
Yes.
like the dumb.
McDonald's. Well, I see. I understand what you're saying, Lex, but I also don't want to say this as like a. I don't want to say it in a derogatory way that you look like a cartoon. It's my computer's not loading.
Huh.
I can't look. It's not. Well, I don't know. It's not working. Look at that.
Okay. I think it's more the moon guy now that you say it, because it's like a crescent moon.
Yeah.
But I think I was thinking of the sun because I was wearing sunglasses, but it's probably a moon.
Well, I think you. Look
This is I get so tripped out about man, government, you know, it's so stupid. As I get older and I realize that the people who are running the government are like my age and like grew up not that different from me, it confuses me when they get into a position like this, that they get to be shady motherfuckers. You know, I know
Well,
people are bad
it's a
people.
culture in Ohio with these prosecutors. It's a cultural thing and it's a systemic thing. I mean, there's just been this like way of doing things that's been handed down that's off the books, and then there's no one watching. And the one of the like most disturbing things about this area too is like how there's just, it's almost impossible to find a criminal defense attorney. I mean, much less a public defender, but even if you're going to pay for a private lawyer who's going to be more interested in representing you and giving you a vigorous defense than I got to play nice with these people because we all go to the same fucking fundraisers and restaurants.
Yeah, and they got 20 other cases in the next month or whatever, and they got to constantly see them. Yeah, so it's this culture of like, honestly, pushing paper 90% of the time. It's definitely, definitely a problem with the system. But when you actually have something like real, I mean, this is like real repercussions. This isn't like a traffic violation. This isn't even like, you know, theft, or this is life. And somebody in that kind of position being a habitual line stepper is crazy. But even more so, I think, and that's what we're saying. So anybody who hears this and wants to pass this along to people who care about stuff like that, is that there's nobody really talking about it. So there has to be more crowdsourcing of people talking about this and getting some kind of accountability, at least getting looked at, like, just some kind of respect for the people who've been lost to actually look into what the hell's going on here. If there's some shadiness, the public needs to know.
Well,
it's still a goddamn democracy.
So the next step in this story is I've announced a press conference we're having on Monday at Tony Viola's home, which is right around the corner from me. He's on house arrest, serving out the rest of his federal sentence there. I think a lot of prisoners like him got put into house arrest when COVID hit. But
how long had he served?
I think 8 of a 10-year sentence or something like that. I mean, at this point, he's not really interested. I mean, like, sure, vacating it and being free from that, but you know, he's got a comfortable apartment because friends are still like believe in helping him, and like, you know, he has a job at Goodwill he goes to several days a week, and you know, but he's got all these lawsuits in the courts, which is a big reason I was like, okay, this guy is saying this shit in court. If he's lying, he's opening himself up to all kinds of prosecutions. So I don't see why I'm not safe to amplify it. And I'll also tell you real quick, the most fun part of the story, if you can just scroll to the end for the spoiler and check out the lawyer, Dan Casares's lawyer, and even the texts I get from Dan Casares. Because initially when I text him, I just say, hey, I'm writing a story about Tony Viola, and I've interviewed this person and this person and this person and this person and this person. What do you got to say?
Wow.
And he tried to say, like, I actually wasn't involved in the federal case. I was the prosecutor in the state trial where he was exonerated. I was like, yeah, I know it was a multi-jurisdictional task force guy.
Right.
I'm going to be focusing on the story of Dawn Pasella.
Yeah.
I've spoken to her parents.
Wow.
And then radio silence. And I told him, like, you got till 4 p.m. get comment into this thing.
Right.
And I got a call from his lawyer. And as a journalist, I now have set up, you know, be warned, everybody, you call me, you get recorded.
Yeah.
I clear them out. Like at the end of the week, I save important ones. But this lawyer called me and with a very concerned tone tried to explain the limits of the First Amendment for journalists,
Whoa.
Wow.
which the concerned tone immediately just had me be like, why are you
What were-
concerned about me? I don't pay you $750 an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
The fuck
What were some of
Yeah.
his what were some of this lawyer's points that you recall? What were
Yeah, good
well,
question.
the first one, he tried to be like, so I hear you've been, well, he tells me he sent me some letter. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I never got a letter, man. I never got one in
Right.
the mail. He tells me he sent it through my website. I go looking at my website. I can look at submissions that maybe it didn't get through my mail, but it'll be backed up there. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
He forwards it to me later, and I'm laughing because the email that they sent it to him, like, you just made that up. I've never had an email address even remotely close to that.
Right.
Anyway, and my email is out there. I think it's on my
Yeah.
Twitter. Anyway, so he tells me, well, did you know there's video of Kelly Patrick that her husband shot from that night that actually shows she was the aggressor? And I am just like, yeah, I've heard about this video.
Right.
And Kelly and Tony have public records requests out trying to get it because they keep being told that it exists. So do you have it?
No,
Right.
So strike one. Then
good
he
try.
tries to tell me, and by the way, did you read Judge Nugent's decision in the federal appeal court where he dismissed all of this evidence? And I'm just like, yeah, I read that decision. And I didn't really say much about what I like push back. I just kind of let him roll.
Yeah.
And then from there, he started to, give me these soft threats of like, just so you know, you can't just go amplifying. Anyone can just say things,
No, right.
like, okay. And
Yeah.
so I published the whole phone call at the on the end of the story, along with his bullshit letter. And the really serendipitous thing is that very night I was on my way to have drinks and meet with the lawyer that I had, known for a while over some different things and followed. And we were like, we talk more on Twitter than in real life. We're like, oh, let's get together.
Yeah.
So I sent him the phone call and the letter while I was driving to his place like a half hour away. By the time I got there, he drafted this smackdown response and was just like, okay, I'm your lawyer.
Wow.
And yeah,
Hey,
so it was
Twitter works. That's a
yo,
somebody
Twitter is awesome when you find your local people who go to city council meetings, who like work in city government, or they have like low follower counts. They'll be like 66-year-old people who don't even know to make a profile, and they got all the numbers, and you'll be like, oh, look at that bot. No, like some of my best finds are people like just like no one's following them, but
Yeah.
they're out there saying like, I know about this shit going on with the city councilman and that. And if I have one thing to like leave, any show with when I do talk about this story is like, I'm really like preaching the gospel of like, get into local politics if you're a very online political person, because your attention's so much more valuable. It's kind of like, the grassroots good comic at an open mic or a musician. If
I agree
you
with
follow them on Spotify, that means so much more than if you're like telling everyone to check out the latest Kanye or big shit.
Mhm.
Get in
Yeah.
as much as I like used to preach the gospel of get into your grassroots art scene, get into your grassroots politics scene, the local level, because that attention matters so much more. And there are people who need help, like really good activists I'm encountering, like they're not on Twitter, but they're like filing all kinds of awesome, like Mariah Crenshaw, who I've followed for a year, and her work is finally blowing up and people are recognizing it. But I immediately saw like, people just need to know what you're doing, but you're too busy doing the work to be telling everyone.
Yeah.
And it's a great thought.
Yeah. And this story
I need to remind myself more.
Yeah. And this story is pretty vast. The fact that you are needing help of other investigative journalists, I mean, speaks to how much you've been able to uncover,
Yeah. And that's when the lawyer tried to tell me, like, if I frivolously just put out allegations, this wasn't me like reading a thing and then like tweets and then just publishing a big article and saying, everyone look at these tweets.
Right.
I had several other journalists and writers and even a former police chief that is someone I work with now who's a whistleblower, who's blackballed from getting a new police chief job because he's being a whistleblower.
Right.
But the work was severely vetted, and you know, all my allegedlys are in there. But I figured I'm gonna go big in on this one, and if I'm wrong, then I'll face plant. I'll go around telling people like, yeah, I tried to be a journalist, and man, I'm bad at it. I just missed this whole thing that's, you know, fell on my face going all in on this Viola and Casares story. But if I'm right in this, and I have a lot more people coming out to this press conference to, like I said, share news stories. They're also old stories that have never been out there, and they're all like the background that's not in this thing that gave me the understanding to.
Yeah.
And the point of this press conference too, one last thing is me playing nice with the media, because I feel like I'm very perplexed and a bit perturbed by how the fact that I'm the one who's pushing this out hard and having to make it clear, like, this is timely and disturbing and important. I don't care if it happened 12 years ago, whatever, or if it's complicated. Why didn't anyone dig in and do the work? And this press conference is my opportunity to be like, here's your chance to make it right, guys.
Yeah.
If no one shows up, I'm gonna, and they're part of the story.
And the other thing is that if this did happen 12 years ago,
or 10,
these people have been empowered to maybe do even worse stuff.
And they're currently, that's what I was going to say. They're currently still in power. So they're in a, exactly that.
And
so
I know there have been,
there
have been local and national reporters that now I know, publications who I could name names, who they have reporters who have been digging into this. And my understanding is generally that the reporters want to do it. But for whatever different reasons, they're afraid to, or their editors have cold feet. Maybe even there's political pressure coming in. And that's where I know Casares and all them are shitting their pants, because I don't have a publisher and editor to lean on. I have no fucks to give about playing nice with any political cliques or anything like that. I just care about these people.
You gotta listen, but you got a sweet ass sweater.
I have to hop off and I have to do preparation for my Pasella. They're going to be at the press conference. That's another big turnaround for them. They didn't want to be public in my interview. No video, no audio out, just quotes. Yeah. Now, when I told them I'm going to do a press conference, would you like to come? There was like no hesitation. And that's been pretty amazing to watch. So, but I need support. If you can subscribe, even just to follow my work so you can share it, bzdouglas.substack.com. If you can donate, certainly very much. I like being independent, and I know my sources appreciate it.
I did post the link in our Facebook feed and our YouTube chat as well. How can people watch? Is the press conference going to be live?
Yeah. So if you go to, I'll send you the link to post out. Yeah, I sent the press conference. It's mostly targeted at the press right now to help get it out, but it's going to be live on State of Injustice, which is what it's sort of unfolding and building into more of an actual journalistic entity. So I'm hosting it on the State of Injustice YouTube. It'll be on my Twitter. I'll send links out to you, and you can share it and watch live as it happens. And hopefully there'll be some press in the room with us. Yeah. So well, it's my first time doing that. And, this whole, I want to thank you guys for having me on. Like when I first started doing this, and I dedicated to learning this trade by doing it. And this story feels like I've got my bachelor's degree.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that you're enjoying something that actually is helping people too. So
that's the best part of it is, the appreciation I get from people who are just like glad somebody's listening, even though I tell them, I'm like, look, I don't have a big audience, but I fight to get my stories out there.
I think the best part of it is the sweet deals you keep getting at Marshall's. That's what I think.
Marshall's. Now come sponsor me, Marshall's. All right. You're one of the few I'll take your corporate money if I get free shirts for life.
BZ,
for Marshall's.
BZ, I know that you were going to take off at or near 11, but before you leave, I wanted to ask, have you ever been invited to come to your kid's school for like a career day? Have you talked about this kind of stuff in front of kids?
Not yet, but some parents do know because I'd love to come back. How long do you guys go?
Oh,
I can
we'll
come
go
back.
till noon. Yeah.
I can come back and tell you a funny story about when I decided to investigate the fundraiser they sent home with my son. That's how the other parents learned about me. As I said, I basically dug into this thing they sent home with the kids. I'm like, hey, y'all know that this basically kicks all the way back to like people who are funding the Heritage Foundation.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the Heritage Foundation are like a right-wing think tank that wanted to abolish public education.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Unbelievable.
thank you guys for having me on.
All right.
Maybe
Thanks,
I'll pop
BZ.
back in a bit, but
Yeah,
I really
good digging.
appreciate it. Love you.
BZ, say hi to the family.
Love you too. Thanks
Yeah,
for the
love
work
you
you're
too.
doing.
Wow.
Hey,
How about
Sean,
yeah.
this is a difficult question, so I understand it before I throw it by you.
Okay.
But have you ever kind of did any kind of detective work before? Have you ever kind of journalized or anything? It could be as simple as like somebody put their fingers in the pie.
Well, I kind of did when I was I went to Cleveland State University for a while, and I had to take like these, I was a communications major, and I had to take like general like communication theory courses and stuff like that. And one of the things that we talked about in one of my classes was how there used to be in most large cities a competition between newspapers, right? And like Cleveland used to have 2 newspapers. Most large cities had multiple ones, and I kind of didn't know that. And I was like very interested in that. And I was also taking a statistics course too, about like, it was like a course you had to take of like surveys and stuff like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Statistics.
Yeah. And while that was going on, everybody hated the school newspaper because it was like very funny, but it was not even funny. It was just like non-informational and not funny. It was just like
it was goofy. It was
Yeah.
goofy and nobody's taking it seriously.
Yeah. It wasn't even like Onion level funny. It was just like,
Yeah.
well, this is junior high.
The Onion's taking it seriously.
Sure,
Funny
yeah.
is serious.
Yeah. So what I did was I created a survey, and I talked to professors about this, and I was like, why is there not, if we're learning in class that there should be a competition between newspapers, why is there only one newspaper on campus? If we're the communication department, shouldn't we? So I created a survey and showed that the student body within the communication department and outside of the communication department was very unhappy with the school newspaper. And I showed how there was a need to create something additionally. So I got a second school newspaper started at my school.
Cool.
And
you didn't have to work there though, right?
I actually
got it started.
I got it started. I tried to get submitted as a writer, and they rejected me. They were like, "You're not really a writer.
You're more of a statistics guy."
Yeah, you're an ideas guy. You're an ideas guy.
I wonder if that newspaper still exists. It was called the Cleveland Stater. Let's Google it real quick.
Yeah, I hope it's still around. That's kind of cool. It's true.
Cool story.
The guy, the leader of the rebellion usually isn't the best leader for the new world,
Right. But
it is a funny story, Sean.
Yeah. My enter button isn't working on my computer. Can someone else Google it?
I'm on my phone.
I'll see if I can get it.
The
The Cleveland State.
The Cleveland Stater newspaper is what I Googled. How can you search for something if your enter button isn't working? That's a new problem with the computer.
It's one of the top 3 buttons.
Yeah, really. Power button?
Yep. Delete button, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
And the enter button.
Power, delete, enter. Those are the 3 buttons you need.
Yeah, because if you can't do a delete, I'm afraid to touch any other button.
Well, you could highlight a word and then type over it.
All right.
I guess
I'm gonna
this is-
let me share my screen.
okay.
Screen.
I was just defending the delete button because I think enter and power are obvious. Delete, they might argue. There might be another button out there that somebody might argue about, but
Yeah.
I'm just going
Maybe-
with delete.
Maybe escape.
Escape is a real good button, actually.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go with
Can
my
you guys-
original button.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there it is. A laboratory newspaper at Cleveland State University.
And it's still functioning. This is years later.
Maybe click on that first article. Is there a
Look,
date on it?
there's a guy in the arts section that like Lex.
Jay, click on the About Us section if they have an
Okay.
About Us, because maybe they'll have like, it was founded, it might have the story of Sean.
I doubt it.
I
There's no
know.
way.
That would be ridiculous though, if we found, it's the only place that we'd actually be able to.
Classes in the school, communications.
There's an
Nice.
And
email.
it'd be great if you went back and there was a plaque with your head on it. They actually have it, and it looks like you too, like a beard, like they've actually checked up on you recently, but they didn't notify you.
I should make
just-
it. I should make it and then send it
Yeah.
to them. But it'd be very,
You-
very,
You should make it and then go there and just put it up,
yeah.
and we'll
But it-
film it.
But be
And
very
we'll film
humble
it.
about it. Like, hey, no big
Yeah.
deal. It's not. I'm not asking for recognition, but this was kind of started by Sean Wickens.
Yeah. Like you got the receipts. So I say we make a plaque, and I'll chip in for this. I'll pay for it if I have to.
I
If
also
you
don't. I also don't have receipts. Like all the work I did on this is like from a.
That's all right. Well, that means that there's no receipts to be had.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, it was I had an completely different email address. Jason, click on one of the articles to see if it's 2021 or if this is maybe that's like a 4-year-old article.
Yeah.
Are there dates? Oh, well, there's COVID information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Click
I
one of these
say,
and
Sean-
read now.
November 4th.
But
I
that's not
say-
a date. Where's what year?
Oh, the year.
I say you treat this like a true
Oh, wait,
comics
bottom.
opportunity. I say you write a letter and make it official, but sign it by yourself
Mm-hmm.
so that it's not like some other dude. You're not lying, but
Oh,
make
yeah.
it official. Like I hereby state that I started this at
Yeah.
this year and blah 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 blah, and just give them the circumstances, and then have the plaque there, and then just go whoever's in charge at the time. Hopefully they'll just be nice enough to put it on you, and there'll be a little extra pressure if we have a camera on their face.
If my professors are still there, I'm sure they remember me for a little
Yeah.
bit.
So I say we do this.
Okay. Let's remind ourselves after the fact, because a lot of times we talk about stuff that we should do and then we kind of forget, which is fine.
Yeah,
Pointing out
that's a
that
good
that
point.
happens.
It's a good point.
Yeah. It's like Ralph had an idea of, he was like, we should do a campaign called High Five a Republican as a way to like bridge ourselves. Were you on for that
Yeah.
one? Do you remember? Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
I
haven't
didn't.
talked
No,
about
I don't
it.
remember that.
Oh yeah. We should though.
That's good. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Share my screen.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have any Republicans out here in Thailand, but
There's
maybe.
got to be some
expats.
soft Republicans out there. There's probably not a lot of hard Republicans, but some soft, like leaning ones.
Oh.
Yeah. Right? There's got to be.
Oh yeah. They're the Australians.
Yeah. There you go. Well, when you do it out there, you can adjust it to hashtag high five a Republican, an Australian Republican.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by Republicans up here. I'll go out and high five everybody.
Uh-huh.
There you go. I think it's a good.
Guys, I just read a story that in Denmark that there was like this like crazy snowstorm, and IKEA like let like 31 people like sleep overnight, like in the store.
Mm.
I saw that. I saw a little
That-
video of the guy serenading him.
I guarantee. I mean, that's a great story, and that's like a very wonderful thing, and it turned into like a fun memory for those people.
Sure.
But I guarantee you, one of those people did make a purchase. Like,
yeah.
definitely.
yeah.
Like, I like this chair.
You know what? That bed is way more comfortable than at first thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like, I could use some spare plates while I'm here.
Yes.
I might as well just get some plates.
I'm gonna get some sweet meatballs while I'm here,
Yeah. Oh, definitely food.
and some
I need
lignin
more.
berries.
I need more fake plants.
They sell fake plants at IKEA.
Yep. Hey,
Oh.
you know what I found out?
Beautiful fake plants.
I was making fun of my girlfriend because she loves going to IKEA, and they call it IKEA out here. IKEA. So I thought that was just so funny, and I'm making fun of her because I'm cruel like that for no reason. And then I found out from watching videos and stuff that like where are they? Sweden?
Sweden. That's how they say
Yeah,
it.
they call it IKEA too. Yeah, we're the ones who say it like idiots. So
Wow. That's
So-
very American of you. I mean, you know what I
yes,
mean? Yeah.
I do like that she doesn't
That's like
let it
that's
go.
like
either.
saying
So
that's like saying
understand
that's like saying that's not football, it's soccer.
that. Mhm.
But it is football over there.
Yeah, that's not Nippon. That's Japan.
Yeah,
We just did it to a whole country, you know.
right.
And I didn't know about that until I was an adult. I was like, we just say they're Japanese. We got other people calling them Japanese,
Yeah.
even
I
though
think I knew that I think I learned that in college. There's like, we call Deutschland, we call Germany, we call Japan Nippon. Like what else? What
Yeah.
other countries? Are there other countries like that? Does Greenland call themselves Greenland?
yes, but I mean like Mexico. You could say, it's really Mexico, not Mexico.
Sure, yeah.
And it's funny because not only can we not call them Mexico, but if we say Mexico, we get made fun of. Like, what are you?
Oh,
What
yeah.
are you, Mexican?
Yeah. That's not a whole different word though. You
Yeah.
know. Not everyone calls Earth Earth, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Well, what else do they call it?
I mean,
the planet.
Oh, in other languages?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, well, how about this? Well, I guess you're looking that up, but I had this I think is a real fucking breakthrough this is like, honestly, this might be the most genius idea I've ever had.
Okay.
And I'm about to share it with you guys right now.
Yeah, go for it. And I don't think I can look anything up because my enter button isn't working. Oh no, it is. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
I think
Weird.
the first words, I know the first word ever spoken by humans
Oh, okay.
is ma.
MOM.
Yeah,
Oh,
because every language has a version of the mother being called ma. So
I've heard-
ma.
yeah.
And so I think the baby named the mother, like the chicken before the egg. I think the babies all named the mothers first, and that's what gave us our first word.
Maybe. I would believe that to be true because I can remember learning that, like, it's like everyone is like, oh, somebody's first words were mom instead of dad. And it's because the M is something that is easier to pronounce than a D. I think
Yeah.
Clyde Mack is here. Clyde, did you just
cool.
get here? Hey, what's up?
Oh, he's physically there.
Yeah, he's I was
I thought that was Frederick. I thought that was Frederick Douglass.
No. Did you drive overnight? Yeah. Do you need to sleep? No, I gotta leave. Oh, okay. He's gotta leave.
That's cool. He just rolls up. That's cool. I'm glad you guys are buddies. I love that guy.
Yeah. It took him 2 hours to park, he said.
Oh,
Oh
damn.
damn.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's probably the easiest words out of your mouth. But I mean, the thoughts also go into like, sure, we might have been maybe making sounds, but that's like the thing that was attached to a thing, like a noun, you know? It was like, I feel like that's the first thing. Anyway,
Right.
more importantly, I thought of that by myself. Made me feel really smart.
What
And I was
led
high
to
as balls, so I thought you guys should hear it first.
what? No, it's good. What led to that thought? Were you thinking about something else, and then it made you think of that? You
I
know?
was chanting. I've been trying to meditate again, and so I've been having a hard time doing it just by breathing. So I started chanting, and I keep doing like I forgot what it's like, a Buddhist. I think it's called Nahi Buddhist chant, but I don't really buy into them. But I remember I learned it from them. It was like a Nam Myoho, because it sounds cool. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. But then I was thinking of a different one. I was like, what's the other one? And it was Om Mani Padme Hum. So I was just saying Om Mani Padme Hum a whole bunch of times. And then my mind was still able to drift. And I started thinking about Ma, like his Om Mani Padme Om is supposed to be the holiest like sounds or something like that. The most
Yeah.
like,
Om is
Yeah.
the sound of the universe.
yeah. And so that's supposed to be like the perfect sentence in like some original text or something that I read a long time ago. Anyway, it does sound nice to chant Om Mani Padme Hum. So I just like doing that, but I couldn't find one on the YouTube that had that pattern that I wanted to do it in. So I just did it myself, and then my mind drifted, and I started thinking about babies and moms and births. And I'll tell you what, Duncan Trussell's Midnight Gospel,
Mhm.
I said it before and I'll say it again. The episode where he interviews his mother is one of my favorite psychedelic episodes. It's beautiful.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Pride.
But it's funny too. It's a real, it's a kind of humor I really enjoy now.
Very sweet. Very
real not laughing kind of.
Yeah.
I've been
Very-
watching a lot of Kids in the Hall, and I've noticed that I haven't been laughing, but out loud. But I've been like, that was pretty good.
Yeah. What do you think about the one you sent? I felt like, not that I didn't knock it because I loved watching them, but I was like, man, I don't know if it's so ridiculous. I did like seeing the cabbage head get blown off, and I do like that they do runners, which you rarely see anymore.
Yeah,
but it's a long sketch.
Well, it was broken up in 3 parts. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's weird. I just I don't know how you write something like that.
It's out there.
Bizarre. Yeah,
that must have been definitely Bruce McCullough, right? I mean,
I would think, yeah. Very, very weird.
Once you get into Cabbage Head Guy.
Right. When I first saw Kids in the Hall when I was in high school, I was like, this sucks. Then when I saw it in my 20s, I was like, oh, I guess I was too young for this, maybe, when I first saw it.
Dave Fasanello introduced me to the Kids in the Hall. Where we sat over his house and watch him all the time.
I would watch him, and I don't remember not getting it. I definitely knew it would. You know what? I remember watching it on like Comedy Central all the time because that was like the first show that they had besides stand-up comedy. I was just watching all stand-up all the time. And then I saw Kids in the Hall. And so I just kept watching it. At first, I don't think I got it. And then I started, and then they clued in. I think I had a crush on David Foley for a little bit when he dressed up like a woman.
Yeah.
And then I started getting it.
He's the prettiest one, is what they would all say.
As a woman, he's definitely the hottest.
Yeah.
But I love, they have a handful of sketches to me that just still floor me. It was like super quick too. The David Foley Soul Survivor of like a 45-minute delay on a tarmac.
Oh yeah,
is hilarious to me.
Where he ate everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. Chocolate box.
It's another good one, and it's kind of the same thing. It's like 2 people in an office, and Dave Foley is in it as well. And somebody points out something weird, about Dave Foley, and he's like, well, it's not like I'm an alien hiding amongst a bunch of humans. And then he pulls out a thing and he's like, abort, abort, blow up the planet. And then they show a thing and the planet blows up, and he's being questioned on an alien spaceship of like, why'd you blow up the planet? You don't. And then it turns out he's a double agent, and then he was like, oh,
he does it again.
I'm a double agent.
Again, sure.
Yeah.
Abort.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I miss sketch. That's really fun. There hasn't been is there any good sketch? I just watched a sketch of Tim Robinson, man. Do you guys know who Tim Robinson, I think, is a gift. He did but the last sketch I just saw was him. I think it was like a PA, or I don't know what the setup was. He was apparently the producer of coffin props or coffin spills. And he also just gets it's really random. He just gets aggressive in the defense of the show. He's very funny, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That one's an A+ one. I remember that one. The funny thing is that I first saw that, I was like, oh, this is so great. And I showed it to a friend. I was like, oh, you're going to love it. And it was not funny. I feel like that's something that you can't warn somebody. I think you just have to show somebody and not say anything about it.
Yeah. I understand.
Because it's so surprising what happens. It's like you can't even tell somebody it's good. You just have to let them be surprised.
Just let it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, he's a funny dude. I just watched him do it was like, I gotta be, I'm curious. I don't know, Tim Heidecker. I was watching a clip from Tim Heidecker, had some kind of podcast or something that I didn't know about. And I guess I had, like, a while ago, I watched his special that he put on YouTube, which was pretty good. It was just, it's different. But man, I watched him have this conversation with Tim Heidecker, and it was so funny. It was just it was two really funny people.
He's a weird, funny guy. Hey,
dudes.
Earth in Italian is terra, but I don't know if that means Earth is in like dirt or if that's what we actually call Earth in Italy.
I think it's.
Look up a random.
I think they all do call it like dirt. It's the same thing.
Here's Valerie. We'll ask her if she knows any other languages.
What's Spanish? Valerie knows Spanish, I think.
Spanish it's something close to that.
What are you looking for?
Tierra. Valerie, what do other languages call Earth?
I don't know.
Yeah. And did you all know that the moon has an actual name? That there's a name for the moon?
Oh, really?
Who named it?
Who?
I don't know, but it's Luna is the name of the moon.
Oh.
I thought Luna is just because Luna is Spanish for moon.
No, but it's also the name.
Yeah, it's also the name.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could say that's what the moon is too. That's what we're, that's the name, the moon.
No way. In the history books, it's always been the moon to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, they weren't giving you top of the line history books.
Oh, no.
How old were you when you found out that your mom had a name other than mom?
I'm gonna say I was 2. I think I knew pretty young.
Okay, yeah. You're pretty confident with that. Okay.
I think I knew. Yeah.
Well, maybe we're just not old enough to know Earth's name yet.
I mean, I'm sure that was a mind-blowing revelation for me. I just don't remember that instant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
just wonder. I know I've gotten to arguments with 2-year-olds that their mom's name wasn't Lisa.
I think there was a stretch of time where I thought because I had a sister, so I thought my mom and dad were brother and sister for a time. I think.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Valerie, do you remember any mind-blowing things from when you were a child or adult?
They're like, wait, let's not touch the childhood.
Yeah.
I got one, but I'll
What
wait
is it?
for
Okay.
Go for it, Jason.
my mother has a port wine mark, and she always wore makeup, I guess. And like when I saw her for the first time without it, and I thought my father was like hitting her, like probably like 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
My grandmother has a twin sister.
That's
Ooh, that's cool.
It was, I think I like didn't know that until I was like 8 or something like that.
That's weird.
Well, oh, you just told us about that not too long ago, too.
Who?
You did.
About my grandma's sister?
Oh no, a twin. Oh no, wait. You told us about a twin. Oh no, your aunt. That's right. An aunt you just discovered.
I'm not supposed to talk about that publicly. I can tell Valerie privately. Or maybe Lex doesn't know either. Should we go offline very quickly and then come back?
Just put it in the chat and we'll act like we don't know.
Okay.
What have you been up to, Valerie? Has Maryland?
It's all right. Yeah, it's okay. I haven't really seen much of the city yet, so I'm still kind of just like chilling at home, figuring shit out.
Yeah.
I got shares of my company though, so that's pretty dope.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't want to say how many because in case there's other people at the company that didn't get as many or got more, and I don't want to know that either.
You got more than me.
Yeah, you got more than me. How many? Okay. Where did those shares come from, though? Did those shares come from somebody else? And they're like, okay, now you have my shares, or was there a pool of shares that like, hey, we're gonna give these out to people eventually, or maybe you don't know.
I think it might be a pool.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know exactly how it works.
I guess it doesn't matter. I don't often talk about shares, so I mean, I don't know.
I don't either. I don't often have shares.
Yeah.
There you go. What's it like to own shares?
Well, you get to tell people that you have them, so that's
Right.
cool.
Yeah. Did you frame anything? Did you get like a thing to frame?
No, I took a screenshot.
Oh, okay. Okay, here, Lex is back. Here, I'll throw this up in the private chat for everybody, but we're not allowed to talk about it.
There you go.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had like that friend where you're like, you whisper to them and then they'll say what you whispered out loud? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, sure.
hey, don't
I
say
do it really loud. What do you mean that's the guy who banged your mom?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We should do that to Sean.
I'm usually that guy, but and I
You really are,
almost
Jay. Actually, you really are. You
Don't
really
do
are.
that.
Valerie, when you came to me came to that show and had you had your secret documents with you, and you entrusted that to me. I was like, holy shit, I can't tell anybody.
And here you are telling the world.
Wait, was this your doodle about the shape of the universe? Is that what it was? Is that what we're talking about? That secret document?
I think that was the doodle about how I got like a daydream about how reincarnation would work.
That's right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what, Lex? It's like a roller coaster.
It is.
What? I blanked. I was trying to I had a really good idea 5 minutes ago, and I was like, oh, it's good enough to remember, and it started losing it. So I had to disconnect and write it down because it's a really good idea.
Oh, good.
Sorry.
Do you want to put it in the chat and then we won't talk about it publicly? Or
I don't know how to chat. It's just going to be more of me distracted. So I'll pay it. I wrote it down on a little piece of paper next to me.
Okay.
And then I'll share. And then before we hang up, like after the show, I'll tell you.
Okay.
It turns out the show's just like extremely structured, but it's all in the chat.
The ledger.
It's like
Valerie-
Family Feud in the chat. Like,
Valerie, did you happen to listen to BZ Douglas at all and him talking about the case that he's been uncovering? Did you hear any of that?
no, I don't know who that is.
Oh, first
Yeah.
guest, investigative
Yeah.
journalist.
You've
Oh,
met BT before on the show.
I have.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
He's been on all 24-hour stuff and everything. Yeah. You've met him before.
okay. Dope.
He had a different shirt on this time, so
Yeah.
don't worry.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Sean, I like the Cleveland Browns thing behind you.
Thanks. I ripped it off of a wall in a bar I went to, and I'm regretting owning it. The season's a bust.
I might have said it to you before, but I don't know why they don't use a little brownie guy, a little
Oh, yeah.
LP guy. I think he's so adorable.
Yeah.
It's kind of old school classic look.
I have a controversial opinion on the Browns,
Go
Go
for
on.
it.
and it's that, but it's not unprecedented because the baseball team just changed their name, right?
Mhm.
And I think the Browns should change their name as well.
Wow.
I think we have a very tarnished legacy of not winning and never winning. And like the team disappeared and that was heartbreaking for the city. And then it came back and everyone was like ecstatic, but we were
Mhm.
ecstatic to get back a team that has a losing record since they've existed. You know what I mean? We've had two
Point.
teams
Yeah.
and the second team is arguably worse than the first team.
Yep.
Probably. I think they should
What was
change
the second
the name.
name?
What's that?
The Browns.
What was the second? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like let's just move
When we
on.
were kids, Jay, sorry, I'll just to clue in anybody else too.
Yeah.
When we were kids, about 20 years ago, I guess, the Cleveland Browns decided to, the team decided to leave and go to Baltimore.
Right.
But-
Become the Ravens.
Yeah, but there was such an outcry by the fans that the city kept the name, the Cleveland Browns, and the history of the original Cleveland Browns. And it was decided that they'd become an expansion team, like I think 3 years later, when
Right.
Jacksonville came in, and I think there was another team. So at
Maybe
that
Carolina.
time,
Maybe Carolina.
so that's maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, the Carolina Panthers. So
So
those
what
four
do you think-
teams came in.
Yeah.
The Browns actually came back in. There was a 4-year stretch 4 or 5 year stretch where the Browns weren't playing NFL. They were the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So now Cleveland's new baseball team is the Guardians, right?
Yeah.
What would we name the Browns if we had to rename them?
I don't care. It just needs to be something different. You know what I mean? It's like you need to rip the Band-Aid off, or you need to make a change. We've changed quarterbacks, we've changed owners, we've changed general managers. It's like, let's just give ourselves a reset.
They even changed cities. That's how it.
Yeah.
That's the only way it worked.
Yeah.
Could you keep it the same colors and everything?
Yeah, I guess so. And I don't think anybody in Cleveland is hearing this and would be like, "Oh, that's a good idea." I think
Yeah,
I'm probably
nobody's
the
gonna
only.
like this.
I'm probably the only person who thinks this.
This is swimming completely uphill, but I'm with you.
Yeah.
If we could keep everything the same except the name.
Okay.
So the logo, the colors, the dog pound, the elf guy.
We'll change it to the Cleveland Dogs then. Keep the colors.
Yeah.
Cleveland Dogs.
Yep. I'm for it.
Yeah. Valerie,
We
do
could
you have
even
any-
call them the Cleveland Brown Dogs. I'm even better.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still different. And
Yeah.
if it's still bad,
Call them
We'll
the
we'll
cream
work
and
with it.
brown dogs.
Call it the what?
Cream and brown dogs.
Why? Wait, are you saying we should change the name?
it's
of
a
the
tongue
city?
twister. The Cleveland Brown Dogs. See, I can't even say it.
Maybe we just keep the name Browns and change the city's name.
Yeah,
Mm.
to brown.
Yeah,
Browns.
yeah.
Time to go to Brad.
The brown.
New Cleveland. You just call it New Cleveland.
I like that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes.
And they'll be like, there's
Welcome to
a
New Cleveland.
Yeah.
It sounds like nuclear, New Cleveland.
New Cleveland.
You know, if they start naming
Crazy
cities,
name.
if they start naming cities on the moon, there could be a New Cleveland up there. You know?
You know
Yeah.
what? If I stay out here in Thailand, as long as, like, if I keep coming back here, I'm going to try to get an area popular enough where I'm just going to get everybody to call it New Cleveland.
Nice. That's a good goal.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Somebody should go to copy.ai and get a free trial, and then maybe we can write some good copy for New Cleveland.
Oh,
I think my trial ran out.
Oh, yeah, mine did too.
what's the
Okay,
name of the
maybe we can-
website?
Copy.ai.
And then all you do is put in your email and it'll send you a code and then you can start using it.
Okay.
But it's a trial.
Or you can do like single sign-on.
Here we go. I'm starting it. My enter button's been weird though, so it's look, now I can't even click on stuff.
Huh.
Here we go.
It's a glitch in the.
Don't wait for me. Carry on with something and I'll tell you when I'm ready.
All right.
One of my friends went back to America and I asked him to get Sour Patch Kids and Twinkies. And it was like a whole bunch of things that I wanted to give to share with people who haven't had it here.
Mhm.
And so I found out that they actually sell Sour Patch Kids here. But now I have this monster bag. He got me this unnecessarily large size of
Are they
Sour
cold?
Patch Kids. Are they cold?
Are they called Sour Patch Kids or are they named something else?
They're
Yeah,
called
they're
Sour Patch
cold.
Kids.
All right.
But this bag is enormous.
Oh yeah, I see them.
Yeah.
Yep. Damn.
It's so big it makes you disappear.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I got
Unnecessary.
I'm logged in. Here we go. New
All
project.
right.
New Cleveland.
New Cleveland.
All right. Relevant website, NA. All right. Oh,
You can leave it blank.
okay. No. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. New Cleveland. Who wants to describe it?
It's the city with the Emerald Belt, right?
It's everything you love about Cleveland, but newer.
Yeah.
It's not your grandpa's Cleveland.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jason, you were close. It's the Emerald Necklace. The series of parks surrounding the city of Cleveland is called the Emerald Necklace. But that's all right. Wait, did somebody else? I forgot to type something. Somebody else had something. Oh, this isn't your grandfather's Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
And then
Put it actually belongs to the Native Americans. It's not your grandfather's Cleveland. It's not
Yeah.
his.
and then I'll also put this is more Cleveland trivia. We used to kind of be called the plum. Like, you know how New York is the Big Apple? They tried
Yeah.
starting it that. Yeah, that's like a real thing. All right. And okay, I'll do this. This is the last thing. All right. there was a Guinness Book of World Records balloon disaster there in the 80s. All right. Okay.
In New Cleveland, there was.
In the
Was it-
old one.
Oh,
In the old,
Did you ever hear that news story? They released like 1 million balloons and they all floated over the lake and it interrupted a rescue mission that the Coast Guard was doing. Anyway,
that's really funny.
New Cleveland is the
First
city
one.
with, oh, New Cleveland is the city with the Emerald Belt, right? It's everything you love. Oh wait, that's what we wrote. All right. You might not yet have been to this New Cleveland, the city with the Emerald Belt, where you can shop, drink, and eat all your favorite things about Cleveland. Everything you love about Cleveland, but better, and it belongs to the Native Americans. Okay. We're Cleveland. We're in Ohio. This is the one you know and we call home. But this isn't your grandfather's Cleveland. It actually belongs to the Native American. This is one's insane. Look how much little we wrote. And then, hey, where are you going? Oh, Clyde's getting a haircut.
Oh, good luck, Clyde.
Outside.
Here. Do you want to say hi real quick?
Hi, Lex.
what up,
Yeah,
Clyde?
brother.
Oh my God, you need a haircut. Go get a haircut.
No,
I like it.
Yeah.
Yo. So I understand why some white people do mass shootings. Okay,
Why?
because the corner. Because black people and like most white people get beat, but some white people they go to the corner.
Mhm.
That's all I'm gonna do. I forgot there was an act out in that joke, and I'm not doing that.
All right.
Yo, like, I love you.
I love you too, brother. Happy to see you guys.
I love you all, but like you're a bitch.
Aw.
Hey, was that your hat? Did you see-
Yeah.
It was? Okay. He left a hat here last time. All right. Okay, good.
That was a twist ending.
Yeah. The hat or the love?
No, he called me a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love you. I love you. You a bitch.
Oh my God, read the last one, read the last one.
Bitches get love too, though. All right.
No,
Cleveland is
I'm
really-
fine with it.
Cleveland is really changing. If you visited the land of the billionaires recently, you'll see why we need to update our image. But how do you communicate that the city center is moving into a new phase of change? How do you inspire confidence when much work has yet to be done? We want people to feel good about Cleveland again. We want them to feel better about themselves when they're in Cleveland. The idea is that by recreating its image, Cleveland is renewing itself and will soon become what it never was, vibrant, worthy of visiting, living and paying attention to. Wow,
This is great.
that's harsh.
That's it. That's art. That's it. That's the one.
I feel like you got to give Cleveland tough love. I mean, we are changing its name because it sucks.
Yeah.
You know?
It is amazing how much detail it pulls from somewhere, because look at all of these. We didn't write any of these things and it's all
Yeah.
accurate. I mean, I don't know.
Erie.
By the way, I
Yeah.
actually like Cleveland. I said it sucks, but I think we're talking about the football team more than the
Yeah,
actual city.
I like it too. All right. Well,
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool.
I really like that last copy, though.
yeah.
I feel like that would be in the brochure. You
Yeah.
get a pamphlet when you go have to take a whiz, right? You pull over, you get a thing, and then you could look at the state map, and
Mhm.
yeah, and then you can
Oh.
see a little brochure about like what's happening in New Cleveland.
Speaking of state maps, I feel like this is a thought I had earlier this week. I feel like we're probably all good at seeing the outline of a state and knowing what state it is, generally.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Do
Mhm.
you think you'd be able to do that if the states were like upside down or sideways?
Not most of them.
I bet we would be pretty good
I
at
thi-
it.
I think I could.
I might.
Could I spin it,
No, you
or
can't
do I
spin it.
always have to look at it upside down?
It's like a quiz, but it's like
And it's just random. I think I could do it. It'd definitely take me longer time, but
But you could do it.
I feel like I could do it. And I guarantee I could get Hawaii the first time.
oh sure. The difficult thing is it's like, how do you spin these images? I'm gonna do one and then see if I can spin it for you guys.
save it to whatever device you're on, and then just edit it real quick and just flip it over 180.
I hope it's Florida.
Well, I'll try to do that, but I don't know. It feels like it's not going to be quick. Oh, see, look I forgot to hit save. I tried downloading it and it didn't. All right, let's see.
Well,
Talk amongst
I'll
yourselves.
tell you-
while I get this working.
I'll tell you the ones that I know I'll have this is how good I know the states. These are the ones that I know that I might have an issue with. I'm going to have an issue with Wyoming. I'm going to have an issue with Colorado. I'm
Okay.
going to get New Hampshire and Vermont upside down. If those two are upside down, that's the only way I know which one's which.
I feel like you could get a clip of you saying that. I get one upside down, then I get the other upside down.
Okay. What
Yeah.
state is this?
Make it really Vermont.
Idaho.
Jason? Look at him
New
trying to turn his head. Look at him.
Oh, no, it's not.
New
This is
Jersey.
one of those Vermont. This is either Vermont or New Hampshire. This is exactly what you put me in. I have no fucking clue, Sean. I got no goddamn.
All right. It is New Hampshire.
Oh,
Here we go. It's New Hampshire.
I don't recognize
Real.
New Hampshire.
Did you
If
guys
you go sideways,
Either way.
I was
sideways?
just gonna, it might look like West Virginia. That's the other one that was going to get me confused.
Yeah. All right. Let's
Who
see.
the fuck knows what West Virginia looks like?
I'll try to do another one and then talk amongst yourselves.
Man, I found out that there's this story. You guys might have heard about it with the monkeys and the ladders. You know that story? It's like,
No.
all right. So there's like 8 monkeys in a room with a ladder, and they put food on top of the ladder.
Wait a
And
minute. Is this a joke or an experiment or what is this?
This is a story.
Okay.
Because what was told to me the whole point of it was to say that I found out it was debunked. It's not a real experiment. So it's
Oh.
just a story,
Okay.
which actually kind of makes me happy to know that they didn't torture these monkeys, but
I mean,
also it
some
sounds so interesting.
So
All
it's a
right,
fake
so
story.
this is the story.
Okay.
So they put a whole bunch of monkeys in a room with a ladder, and they'll put food on top of the ladder. Once the monkey starts climbing up the ladder, they ice cold hose these monkeys down, where everybody gets electrically zapped, or, some kind of punishment. But I heard it with like hose down water.
Yeah.
And all the monkeys like, what the fuck? And so it takes them a couple times to realize that don't fucking climb up that ladder, or else we're all gonna get hosed.
Okay.
Right? So nobody's going to get this food, right? So then they take out 3 or 4 monkeys, and they put in 3 or 4 new monkeys, and these new monkeys like, guys, there's food right on top of this ladder. Let's go get. Oh, this is what happened. Sorry. Before that happened, before they swapped out old monkeys, if there was a monkey that started climbing up the ladder and they realized don't climb up the ladder. If a monkey still tried to climb up the ladder, they'd all beat the fuck out of the monkey. They'd all beat him up. So so the monkey started self.
Is this
What?
a movie?
No, this is a story.
The Hunger
Got
Games.
debunked. This is a story that got debunked.
Okay.
All right. So monkeys in a room, climbing up a ladder, get hosed down. They don't want to get hosed down. So they start beating up each other if you start trying to go up the ladder, right? So now they're not even having to hose down the monkeys anymore. But now they start swapping out monkeys. And if the monkeys come in and they're like, hey, let me go up that ladder, they just get the fuck beaten out of them, even if they didn't get hosed. And then they just rotate. And so now they're just beating up the monkeys if they go up the ladder. And one by one, they rotate out the original monkeys that were there that got hosed down. And they were left with all new monkeys who've never been hosed down, but they've lived in a world where if you climb up that ladder to get food, you're getting the fuck beat out of you.
Shit.
And you don't even know why.
Wow. That sounds real. That's fake?
Yeah. It sounds so real.
Yeah.
It's fake. And that's shocked. Yeah. I'm shocked as you. I'm as
You know what
shocked
I
as you.
heard? You know what I heard? is that if you take ants, if you dig ants out of the ground, if you take ants and then you put them in like an aquarium
Mhm.
or like an ant farm,
Mhm.
at first they'll be like, hey, what's going on? But then eventually they'll start acting like ants again.
Yeah, and if you put them in your pants, forget about it.
Yeah. All right. Here's another state. What state is this?
I know it.
Colorado.
Nope.
Oh, no, wait.
I think it's North Carolina or South Carolina.
Yeah. Because look, that up here, the top, that's a shoreline.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are cheating by even just tilting your heads, but you're right. It is South Carolina. This is the right way.
If you go back and watch the video, I did not tilt my head.
I know, but there it is, South Carolina. Now, all right.
I told you.
Yeah, a good call.
I knew New Hampshire, Vermont, I'm not going to get.
You did
Colorado,
this.
I'm not going to get. Wyoming, they're boxes.
I would
West
get the
Virginia,
box.
West Virginia, I wouldn't guess.
I'll do one more.
All right.
Do like a center state. Do a center
I
state.
feel pretty confident about everything else.
Don't tell me what to do. That's like
I
that's
feel
like-
like lines are easy to because they're jagged and
that's like asking the teacher. That's like asking the teacher to put certain questions on the quiz.
Wait. Sean,
yeah.
have you picked the state yet, Sean?
Well, I think I did.
I'm going to write down what I think it is before you show me it.
Okay. The weird thing is that I'm not finding a good outline of this state.
All right. I have my answer written.
Okay.
Oh, you can't see it with the, let's see how I can, well, you can't still see it, but
Maybe everyone write it down.
What are we
okay.
writing down?
What you think the state will be.
Oh, okay. I think it will.
well, to be honest, it won't make me feel as special, but all right, if you guys all want to do it. I'm joking.
But it was your idea.
No, I'm joking. I'm totally
I
joking.
know, I know.
Oh.
All right, here we go. Is everyone ready?
Mhm.
People can play it. People watching at home can play along, but people listening to iHeartRadio cannot play along. Okay, what state is this?
Is it Oklahoma?
Is it Oklahoma? But but you're allowed two guesses. So what did you pre-guess, and what do you really think it is? Lex, what do you have? I can't.
I still believe it. South Dakota.
South Dakota, Oklahoma, Jason.
South Dakota.
North
Okay.
Dakota.
All right.
Tell me I don't know Sean.
It is a center state, and I was going to pick a center state before Jason said, but this is Kansas.
Ew.
Like I don't even know you. It's like I don't even know you anymore,
Yeah.
Sean. I move across the world for multiple years.
I
It's
think
like-
this is the real way it goes. Let's see. Hold on. I'll go back to. There is there it is. Kansas.
Is Kansas the most popular of all the states?
The most what?
Boxy,
No, I
Of all
think
the-
Colorado is.
Colorado.
Colorado.
Colorado is more boxy. Wyoming's right up there too.
Colorado state map is just a square.
I bet you Tennessee, you couldn't tell if it's upside down or right side up.
Or if it was the only 10 you see.
Yeah.
You'd never be able to know.
Yeah. Hey,
You know,
Valerie, all right. Lex asked this question of me earlier. And it's have you ever done any like investigation work? I feel like is there any investigation work that you want to share that you've done? I feel like you've got a lot of investigation in your history.
Yeah, I used to do open source intelligence gathering on the F500 cybersecurity executives.
What?
I led a team of international analysts in 2020, like early 2020. And yeah, we looked up. I got real good at like finding fucking anything on the internet about fucking anybody.
What
We
should
put
we
her-
know?
I mean, like if it's out there, like I'll find it.
Yeah. What should we know? Anything?
You can, like a good resource is like right clicking photos, and then like you can also, like if you want to research somebody, you can like find out who their wife is and then find her Facebook and then like figure out things about them from her, and like you can do a lot of weird workarounds.
Wow.
Yeah, one time I went into like the Strava app and then I was like looking up their running routes and like
Whoa.
I'm like, this guy's not in very good shape.
What was the end game to this project?
World domination or blackmail.
It's, I mean,
They're only in part 2 of a 7-part series. You gotta wait.
Yeah.
yeah. And you know what's so crazy is the company that I was doing that for is like a consulting company to the company I work for now.
The one you have shares with?
Yeah. It's a small world.
Right.
Cyberland.
Sean, the only investigative work I ever did was I dug into my religion and found out it was a cult and my whole world was a lie.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, I did that too. It's a bummer.
And then I found out the story had been written 1,000 times before.
Have you have any of you written your, isn't there, if you leave the Jehovah's Witness, you're supposed to send a letter?
Good.
Good.
I
just dipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they're setting it. Oh, go ahead, Valerie.
Oh, I was gonna say like before I got like officially like baptized within the church, I wrote that letter like, yo, I don't want to be a part of this. And they're like, we kind of can't accept this because you're not a part of this officially, so you can't be a part of it.
Oh wow.
And then they got me to be a part of it, and then it's like, you're not gonna kick me out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this game of Monopoly isn't real. Like, why would I keep playing?
I know you're not I know you're not supposed to do a letter, but I know people have. I forget what the name of it was.
I think there's a certain, like, I give them, I think there's a bit of a bravery to it in some ways, but it also might be just whatever family relations like you're still holding on to. That's the only reason why I don't.
Sure.
But it's not like they're sending me letters to try to join up with them anymore either. Like I've been able to separate that enough. But there was enough ties where I wanted to at least have their legality loophole of saying like I ain't kicked out and I didn't disassociate. That's what they call it, disassociate. People used to do it back in the day. Back in the 70s, they were able to leave gracefully and just leave and say, I'm disassociated. So like, I'm just a normal dude. And they would treat people like normal dudes. But what they do now is if somebody asks to just get out, they're ostracized just as much or more than the ones who get kicked out.
Technically, I'm inactive.
Yeah. So that's kind of that's the loophole, gray hole. And then if anybody wants to be an asshole and dig up your shit, they can. Like they can find me easy, but nobody. But also, most everybody doesn't deal with me anyway.
Yeah. I met a guy once who left the mafia by telling his
he wrote a letter.
The Godfather. No, he just was like, hey, I met a woman. I'm marrying her. I'm moving. I'm getting a job in a factory. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. Don't come after me. And he did it. I don't know.
Every other movie I've seen about that, like there's some condition he had to go through, or
there might have
one favor to the dawn or whatever.
There might have been, yeah. There might have been
a payoff, a little under the.
Yeah.
Yep.
This guy was a interesting dude. He was like a family that I grew up with.
Mhm.
Like they moved to Florida and I went to visit that family and it was like their neighbor, this guy who was like in his 80s, like an old school New Yorker. He's like, yeah, I used to be in the mafia in the 50s.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good on the mafia, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, they really grew up. They really got their act together.
Yeah.
Freedom
The new
for all.
mafia. All right.
The
we do
new
this
mafia.
Yeah,
Oh
we do-
no, I do not like the new mafia.
Yeah.
Copy
Old
for the new
mafia, great. Because they're all gone.
Yeah.
New mafia, horrible. Like old pirates, Pirates of the Caribbean, great.
Yeah.
Somali pirates, no.
Mm,
That's
No,
so good.
I'm not. I'm not team pirates.
I
yeah.
kind of like the Somali pirates.
I would like the new Pittsburgh Pirates.
Like, go for it, man. Like, go get
New
yours.
Pittsburgh.
What about Cleveland Pirates? The new Cleveland
The
Pirates.
new Cleveland Pirates.
That would be funny to name your team after another team, but then just put
Yeah.
new on the city.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
new
The new
Yankees.
Giants.
Yeah.
We're the New
Um,
York Giants. Well, we're the new Giants.
Right.
I like that.
Or even how about the bigger Giants?
Yeah.
Even, the Cleveland even bigger Giants.
The Cleveland Humongous.
That's
Yeah,
good.
well, I would say if now just to make sure that nobody else catches on to this new wave of naming teams, I would go directly to the biggest Giants, just to make
Ooh.
sure, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
By far the biggest Giants.
Because what would be bad is if you name your team the bigger Giants, and then all of a sudden Dallas decides to rename their team the biggest Giants.
Yeah,
Now you got mud on your face.
that's right. Oof.
The only Giants.
Oh,
Ooh,
There's a twist. That's good.
yeah.
Mm.
It's like a
All
trump
right, well,
card.
this was fun,
This was fun.
right?
Thanks for having me on. I think I should see you for Samantha's birthday.
Yeah,
Oh, good job.
you're going to be crashing here, I believe. I was told.
I should hope so, since we
Yeah.
already agreed to it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna take this opportunity to be like, hey, it's not gonna fly, Valerie? And I just wanted the support of the live audience.
No, you
Because
can.
I know
crash.
you tend to fly off the handle when you get bad news.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I should be crashing there, and I'll see you guys on the 18th. Jason, are you gonna go?
yeah. I think I'm gonna be there.
Valerie, did you make Christmas plans yet? Because I know that you were.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here for
Hmm.
that. Yeah. But I don't know, anything super fun going on?
I might go
Well,
to.
Christmas,
Yeah.
Santa Claus,
Yeah.
Santa
The
Claus
birth of-
goes around
birth of
giving gifts
Jesus.
to everybody.
Yeah. The birth of Jesus.
I don't need that guy in my life. I'm good.
Jesus, the birth of Jesus.
I don't know. I understand not wanting religion thrown down your throat, and religion has sullied the name of Jesus.
Mhm.
But I mean, have you heard about this guy, even bigger Jesus?
Mhm, mhm.
He's
I
pretty
like
good.
newer Jesus,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
bigger Jesus.
Right.
Well,
And even
would be.
easier Jesus.
Yeah. Even
Made
Jesus.
with real G's.
I'm still going for cult classic.
yeah, we're still waiting on Cult Classic. I will say this.
Classic.
One of the things, and I'm working on some bit about time travel, but I know, from scripture that they say Jesus, if he was a real man, was
Yeah.
like average height, and of like, they said he was relatively good looking. If everybody thought he was like a good kid, whatever, but he just average kind of dude, right?
Mhm.
The average height of like people back then, humans back then, was like, it's not as tall as we are. It's like a foot
Yeah.
shorter. He'd be
Yeah.
like, Jesus would be like 4'2", 4'5". That's it.
That
So there's your
short?
savior. There's your
Oh.
savior. Yeah, that's how short.
That's why he
Wow.
was so easy to like nail up,
Wow.
Probably.
Tiny.
Real tiny guy. That's all I'm saying.
Like crucifying a
Jesus
toddler.
can't dunk. Saying Jesus
It
can't
makes a
dunk.
lot of sense. I was always like, how did they do it? And it's like, if you gave me a 3-year-old and you're like crucified,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I
Don't. By the way, nobody give her a 3-year-old. Apparently.
mean, for the right price, I think all of us would do it.
You're on the wrong flight, kid. Come here. I'll help you be quiet.
Get on up on that pole, little kid. This is a sacrifice for my economic gain.
I was mistaken for Jesus, or some woman called me Jesus once in North Carolina when my hair was like down to here, and my
No.
beard was.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you look like-
she probably was like Jesus. Like you scared her.
Could be.
Jesus would be a really good car insurance mascot, because he can save you a lot.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Not only from accidents, but financially.
Yeah. He's the new Jesus.
Yeah.
I'd like to just out there in Times Square, like dressed up, a guy dressed up as Jesus out there in Times Square.
Yeah.
Like that'd be pretty funny.
I have a Santa Claus outfit.
We should all go dressed as Jesus, but hang out together. We're
Yeah,
like all multi-dimensional Jesus.
How come there's not a Jesus bar? Because there's like pirate bars where people dress up as pirates.
Yeah.
It could be a Jesus.
I like that.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
there
as
could be.
slutty Jesus.
Into the Jesus verse.
Buddy,
You know,
Jesus.
like,
I'm
into
gonna
the
go
Jesus verse.
I'm just
They
gonna
just
go.
have-
I'm just gonna go as broke Jesus and ask people for cash, but to borrow, not to have.
I always have an affection for either homeless Jesus or because there's just a dude who walks around your neighborhood and everybody calls him homeless Jesus.
Mhm.
So every town has them. Or 80s black Jesus. 80s
Yeah.
black exploitation Jesus is a top 5 for me easy.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna be rich Jesus.
I'm going with righteous Jesus.
Hey, what was the name of that book that you got me turned on to that had a TV show that had all these Jesuses too?
Oh, that's American Gods.
That's
American
the name of the movie.
Gods.
All these Jesuses, part 2.
Yeah. Because the idea was like if you believed in a God, then they come up, and they were the more powerful. The more believers you had, the more powerful they were, right? So like Thor was
Basically.
around, but he wasn't that
Like
strong
Twitter.
because nobody really believed him. But
was-
there was a whole bunch of Jesuses.
Yes, sort of.
It's a good concept.
Yeah,
Jesus
and then there was like
It's an awesome book.
God of money, God of
They have a series on I think what is
Stars.
it?
Stars or something,
Yeah, Stars.
something like that.
Cool, but the book is like wild because it's Wednesday Odin trying to get like he's trying to like fool the whole world and get more power again. So it's pretty cool.
What
It's
if
just
there was
reading.
like inventor Jesus?
Ooh,
Yeah,
With, like, water ski shoes.
yeah. You would think it's one of those things that always gives me a real problem with real Jesus is he didn't invent, right? Like this is like the dude who knows all this cool shit, and he didn't tell one person to just wash their hands. But he could have just been like, "Hey guys, here's running water, right? I know I walk on water,
Mhm.
but here's some running water for you guys." That would be
Like-
like a nice tag, right?
Don't
It'd be
run
like-
on water. Give us running water.
Yeah, exactly. Like he could have just been a lot more useful, you know?
Jesus could have been a lot more useful. You should do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if he would have given us like wind power and solar energy 2,000 years ago, the whole Earth would be in a lot better shape.
Yeah, we'd be fine.
How about he just was like, "Hey, black people are people too." Like if Jesus said Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
maybe we wouldn't have, but we can't even get Jesus to be BLM. you know?
Yeah. This will make sense in like 500 to 1,000 years or more.
Just trust us.
Yeah. Well, this is the longest we've ever gone late, I feel like.
Oh, we're late. Oh,
Yeah.
man, I'm having a good time. All right.
Cool.
Well, let's end the show, but I still got to talk to you guys about a
Yes,
genius
good.
idea.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for being here, everybody.
All right. Well, it's good to see you
Bye.
guys.
Yeah, bye.